Hello everyone, and welcome to my solo RPG journal. Today we're continuing the story of Gabriel, the alchemist who has travelled to Flyer Ridge to set up a shop. We'd left the last episode after Gabriel had slipped away from the city as a cat. Or tried to, at least. He got chased by a lady who thought that he'd be useful catching rats in the for the Merchants Guild. Once he'd gotten away from her, he managed to sneak out of the city and back to the bandit camp. He'd just been out subjugating bandits with some adventurers that he'd met at the Adventurers Guild who were looking for a missing caravan. They found the caravan and most of the goods from it, and had just gone back to report to the city. So he, having slipped away from them after they'd reported back, went back to pilfer a little bit. Not so much the caravan, though he did rifle through to see what clothes he could get. It was carrying passengers, though, so he was probably taking their effects from the caravan as opposed to things that were being shipped by the merchants. And armor and weapons from one of the bandits that they'd killed, hiding the body. Because on the way there, he had come across the guard who were attempting to find the camp. He got ahead of them, gaining a little bit of time to actually do what he wanted to do. So he hid the body so he wouldn't be out in the open, discovered by them stripping the body, and have to deal with their questions. Took the armor, a sword, and made his way to the caravan so he could find some clothes, because he wants to set up another identity. He parted ways with Dania at the beginning, or of the end of the previous session, the beginning of that last session, having said that he was going to pursue his goal of setting up an alchemy shop, but he knew someone that he would get to introduce herself to, Dania. That person doesn't actually exist because he doesn't know anyone, having just arrived. So he's planning on setting up a second identity, someone that he can use around town anytime that he needs to do something a little bit more martial, anytime that he needs to get involved in anything like he did before, going out for the bandit camp. Potentially looking for essence. So he has been, since he's started, trying to find an alchemist named Essence in order to set up a license with the Merchants Guild. He needs to be vouched for by someone, and she was on the list of people who the alchemist would listen to, the guild would listen to. And she should have been the most reliable and easy to find, as someone who was often seen around the Merchants Guild, but he has had quite a bit of trouble finding her. And the other thing he's heard about are rumors of people going missing. So something's going on, and he's starting to think that Essence has disappeared, as opposed to not just being hard to find, but maybe she's been kidnapped or something. We also discovered the bandits were kidnapping people. They had actually taken the caravan in order to kidnap a particular person to stop them from coming into the city. Someone that the bandits or someone else did not want this person to come in contact with the government of the town. The government is a theocracy, so it's they're the worshippers of a god that we haven't set up yet, or maybe not so much the Reborn. I remember actually thinking about this now. They are the reincarnated servants of a power, so there is a god involved. And the reborn are the people in charge. So the priesthood is in charge of the city, And for some reason, there was someone on the caravan that should not, according to whoever's manipulating the bandits, come in contact with the priesthood. Is this related? Or is the other disappearances completely separate? Well, we don't know yet. We'll have to find out. In any case, we're starting off today's session at the beginning of day 4. So Gabriel will emerge from the tavern the following day, hale and healthy, completely healed. And we'll start again looking for Essence. He was given the names of 3 different people originally, one of whom would have been easy enough to find as being involved in the government. He just might not have been around the Merchants Guild, whereas Essence was supposed to be the easiest to find, spending time at the Merchants Guild. But everyone's been very tight-lipped on her, and he's starting to think that something's going on. Given the rumors that he's heard, he's actually going to look specifically for her as opposed to anyone else. He is thinking that he is here to start a new life and get away from all of the intrigue of his previous life and sort of study in quiet, study his alchemy in quiet. But at the same time, if people are going missing around him, he's going to have to make sure at least that he's not going to be affected, in case he needs to find another place. So he will start off by heading into the Merchants Guild and just seeing if she's about. Though he's quite certain that we're quite certain that this is not going to happen. So ask a question. Is Essence around the... Small chance. No, she's not. Is anyone willing to say anything? Is anyone willing to talk to him about what's going on and why they haven't seen her? Open up to him about the fact that she hasn't been seen. Very small chance. No, they're not. Does anyone show signs of knowing anything? Does anyone show signs of knowing anything, or does anyone know anything? I think this one's unlikely. Okay, so someone shows signs of knowing something. Does Gabriel notice? Gabriel does notice. So he's got... Who is it? Is it a character that we've already established? I'm just going to roll a die, 50% chance. No, it's not. So we know of 3 people from the Merchants Guild, two of whom by name, the Traran Duskbender, who we dealt with on the first day, and the Dwarven woman Tasmil, a compliant Dwarven. A compliant Dwarven merchant, slightly weaker than the party. So I guess I'm creating another character. Random. A fickle warden. So rolling on the UNE Oracle to create another character. We've got a fickle warden, comparable to the party. Their motivations are to damage hate, progress stories, and distress strength. Some of these don't always work together, but he wants to bring people together. damaging hate, bringing people together, lessen hate around, and he wants to progress stories. And distress strength. What the hell does that mean? That will come into it, I'm sure, at some point. But talking to him, her, human, elf, dwarf, another dwarf, lots of dwarves in the Merchants Guild. So, Edris. Fickle. Not particularly. So, Edris isn't particularly willing to speak to us, speak to Gabriel. Obviously, privacy, can't just go, who is this guy? He's coming around looking for her for a bit. He obviously doesn't know anything because he keeps persistently looking for her and doesn't know anything about where she is. So he's not involved in the kidnapping, but, can't really trust him, especially if she has been kidnapped. We don't even know. We haven't actually established that yet, just that she's missing. So he is going to... I guess that Edris is just around. So Gabriel's got two options. He can go look elsewhere. Like there's the garden. We can find out. Follow the rumors of people going missing, and see who has been going missing. Because there have been rumors about people going missing, and Essence certainly has. So maybe there's got to be some sort of thing with the guard, or even a quest with the Adventurers Guild. The alternative is to investigate. Edris seems to know something, but it could just be that Edris is aware of the situation. So there might not be too much to learn here. However, we could stick around and follow Edris around. I think that Gabriel will go looking for missing persons bulletins. So signboards at the guild, and start asking questions. So we're going to go to the Adventurers Guild and roll Gather Information. Okay, so the DC... So depending on how well we roll, we'll have to roll at least a 15, but between 15 and 25 to see, or higher, to see if we can find anything out. I'm not trying to... Now, that's a question. So one of the things it does is you can accept a minus 20 penalty on your gather information check in order to avoid any suspicions that might be aroused by someone pursuing sensitive information. No, I think he's already been asking, so there's no additional harm to be added by people going, hey, he's looking for her. Typical gather information check takes 1d4 plus 1 hour, so I'll roll that as well. And we're going to start... Ooh, synergy. Looking around the Adventurers Guild for anyone who can tell us anything. So it takes 4 hours. And we don't learn anything. I rolled a 14. So there's nothing... No one at the Adventurers Guild knows anything, and I spend a good part of the morning there. Probably treat some people to lunch if I think that I can get anything out of them, but no one knows anything about the missing persons past the rumor that I've already discovered, which is that people are going missing. But no one knows anything concrete. Let me just go back to... Where's the information that I got? The harboring fugitives. Okay, so the bandits were harboring fugitives as opposed to keeping them, or at least that's what they think that they were doing. All right. If there's nothing on in the thing, I think that I'm going to go looking for my guard friend. So the first night I was here, I met a dwarven guard named Hornum, an inept guard. Around level 10. We had some drinks and had a good night. So I'm going to go looking for Hornum, because the two bodies that might be willing to talk to me are people around the Merchants Guild, or him. He might know something as being in the guard, or might be able to look into it for me, or tell me where I can find some information about missing persons, even if it's just a bulletin. When are they being? Because we don't really know anything about the situation, and it's possible we're actually going to come up against a dead end and not be able to find anything. And it's also possible that people are just disappearing. There's a lot of things going on where the city's been set up in order to combat some evil that's coming out of a old castle that's demons are spawning from, or something like that. Haven't worked out exactly what yet. But there's a whole ruined city where the bandits are from. So there's all kinds of reasons why someone might just disappear for a little bit. But let's see if any missing persons reports are filed. So the question is, how long does it take us to find him? Because we just go around asking at different guard stations to see if we can find him. And, while we're there, we'd ask if we heard anything, if there was anything we could know, heard some rumors, wondered if any missing person things had come out. So I'll roll the gather information again. Okay, so this time I get a 19. It takes me 3 hours to find out what I'm looking for. And it's below 20, so I'm not going to learn anything. So Gabriel's not going to learn anything specifically about essence, but he is going to learn with a 19 that people have been going missing. Are they being kidnapped? So let's ask some questions of the Oracle. Are the missing people... Nah, okay, so... do the guards know? Alright, okay, what could it be? Kidnapping? Or... Okay, so kidnapping versus abduction. Kidnapping is when ransom is being paid. I actually think that that's pretty unlikely. I think there's many other reasons in a fantasy world, especially when we've got so many different interesting powers in play, that there's a lot of different other reasons that this could be happening. I guess, are they being abducted? And I think that is actually likely. They could be going off to some other... Yeah, so if they're not being abducted, then they're doing something for the war effort that's secretive. So I think that it's likely that they're being abducted. They are being abducted. Now, if I go back to... first night drinking, gathering information. So, rumor about a vampire. So it could be vampires. They're keeping it quiet. Could be something else, but it could be vampires. Are they being abducted? Yes. does the guard have any... Well, I think that we'll just say that we have found Hornum, and he's the one that's giving us further information. Do they suspect a vampire? Because that's the rumor that we've gotten. Do they suspect a vampire? So likely they do suspect a vampire, because that's the rumor that we already had. So it's likely that those things coincide, even though there are other reasons around. So yes, they suspect the vampire. Might not actually be that. Is there a pattern? Ask a question. Is there a pattern to the disappearances? I'm going to say it's likely. Yes, there is a pattern, because there often are with these kinds of things, whether it's the victim or the kinds of victims, or there's even just if it's feeding pattern, how often do these people get hungry? Vampires get hungry. Is there... do they have information about the target type? They know about the target type. The type of person being targeted. I'm going to say this one's 50-50. They do. That's interesting. So we've got one lady that's been taken, so it could be... Okay, so is it... So I guess the question is it, what's it based on? If it's some kind of, is it just women with a particular type, so physical appearance? Is it socioeconomic background, like class structure, type of work that the person does? So we'll go asking question, type based off physical appearance. So 50-50. So we're looking at, in that case, it's appearance or it's socioeconomic status. So we'll go 50-50 physical appearance. So are there other connections between the victims? So this is unlikely. So no, there are no other discernible connections between the victims that they're aware of. Because this is all what are the guard currently aware of. Now the question is, how much of this do they actually tell Gabriel? So I rolled I think that I can at least get that they suspect the vampire and that there's a pattern. And I think that once I start asking, what do you know about the type of people that are being targeted and how they're being, then I think that's starting to raise the suspicions of the guard. Hornum's going, why do you want to know? And, Gabriel would explain, look, I'm looking for this person in particular because I was referred to them by the Merchants Guild, someone that could help me set up a foothold. I need a license in order to set up a foothold in this city. Set myself up in the city, and she's one of the people that have been. So I was been looking for her, and everyone's been quite tight-lipped about it over at the Merchants Guild. Understandable, they don't want to tell some stranger all of the details about this person, about Essence, but they don't want. Did think it was odd, and so he's been starting to look into it. And, if there's anything he can do to help. So I'm going to roll a diplomacy check. Just how much he's going to be willing. I think they're pretty they're on friendly terms already. So we'll give it a go. Okay, so I don't... Through explaining everything to him, he just stays friendly. He doesn't get to be helpful. And I think that he'd need to be helpful. I only rolled a 19. I needed a 20. One off. Who would have thought it? I don't think he's... Yeah, I think that he's willing to tell me that much, but I don't think he's actually willing to give me the information I would need to take this further. I don't think he's going to tell me specifically what these people look like, what the type of person is being targeted is, and give me anything that would allow me to step in and help track them down. He'll advise me that, I should leave the matter to the guard. Friendly, wishes you well. He'll chat with you, will advise you, will offer limited help. I think that, yeah, because I don't think he'd want me to get involved. I haven't shown myself as someone who is would necessarily be able to handle myself against a vampire and get involved in that kind of thing. I'm ostensibly there as an alchemist, and while I was involved in tracking down the bandit camp, which that news would... he wouldn't necessarily know that. Does he know that? He does know that. I've got to say, it's really odd rolling. When you're rolling on oracles, when you're rolling for percentage dice stuff, you go with the lower things. You go, the percentage is 25% or whatever that is, and then you try and hit below that number because it's easier than working out, I've got to then roll above a 75 or something when you start looking at numbers that are not, easily divisible, like 25 is. So if I was to go, it's a 42% chance, it's just easier to roll. So you're suddenly rolling low when everything else is trying to get you to roll a higher number. Kind of handy though when you tend to roll low with these things, and suddenly you rolling low is the good thing. So he is actually aware that I was involved in tracking down the bandits, and the team did deal with it. Now I'm sure that Danny has actually got a bit of a reputation. We did lose one of the party, however, so it would have been seen as dangerous to by someone who wasn't there. And I did come away wounded. So they would know that the Alchemist came away from it wounded, but he was involved and did survive, whereas one of the party regulars did not. So the question is, where do we go from there? It's possible he might actually say, look, if you want to get involved, if you want to help out, I'll talk to the captain and see if I can get you involved. Because if we can make use of your skills, we'd be happy to have you on. I don't think that he'd be going and giving me the information so that I can get out there and find out myself. So again, Gabriel doesn't have any information that he can use himself. However, what does Gabriel know about vampires? Let's just have a look at knowledge. Magical beasts. So it'd be knowledge religion, theoretically, to know about undead, but I think that I'm going to say that an Arcana roll can also do that, because he has some knowledge in Arcana. I've got some knowledge in Arcana, but I don't have any in religion. So 24. So I think that he does know a bit about vampirism. So let's learn a little bit about vampirism ourselves so that we can actually inform creatures. There's 2 vampire templates. No shadows and no reflections in this. I guess we can change whatever we want. So we'll go with vampires not being able to go out in the sun, because that's a classic. Oh, is there not a... Okay, so Gabriel knows about vampires. He knows that they create other vampires, and I guess he would ask if there's worry. Before he's turned away, he'd ask, do they think it's more than one? Think there is more than one. I think it's unlikely. So they don't think that there's more than one. There might be, but they don't think it is. There is. Someone is taking people in the night. Are bodies showing up? And we're going to say 50-50. No, okay. So they're either hiding the bodies, or people aren't actually dying, or they're being shipped off somewhere. So the vampire might have some other purpose to taking them, but he's taken a few people. I'm going to roll a d20, and that's going to be the number of people that they've taken. No, let's keep it so that a number that he's willing to take. So I want to roll a d6. 1, 2, or 3 people other than Essence. He'll be happy to say 4, 5, or 6. He won't actually tell me how many people they've taken. Okay, so I rolled a 1. So they've taken Essence. There's at least one other. We'll say that there are 2 others that have gone missing. I think that there had to be at least 3 people that have gone missing. We'll say at least 3 other people. No, 3 people have gone missing, and Essence was the last of them, most recently. Over a short period of time? Yeah, over a short period of time. So in the last month, in the last moon, 3 women have disappeared, and they think there's a vampire. At least people have been told to close their doors. The evidence looks like there's a vampire. Though, what was the rumor that I discovered? A priest got drunk and discovered a sleeping vampire. The high priest has decreed that everyone must not... So, the fact that there is a vampire has actually come from the clergy. The priesthood have said that there's a vampire, not that there's necessarily any evidence. The guard have just been told by the government there is a vampire, and that is what is taking people. So maybe it's not even a vampire, but people are being told to stay in their homes and not let anyone in. So this Gabriel is at least walking around in the daylight, and that's when people are seeing him. So there isn't any concern of him being the vampire. And he's looking for Essence, looking for someone who's missing. So I don't know that anyone's going to suspect him of being involved. So he's going to thank Hornum and leave. And I think that we'll leave it there. So we've got some evidence, and the next question is, what does he do with it? So in the next session, we'll explore that. We'll head out at night and start
looking to see what we can turn up. He hasn't told us what the links are. Just that they were women that were being targeted. So I think that in the next session, we're going to see the debut of our new identity. So until next time, have a good one.